any further, and Arsenal would lose the final on penalties.
We have to rewind that and watch that back a little bit there. That is outrageous. Guys, it's that time of the week again. Welcome back to the Planet Football YouTube channel, and welcome back to our series of classic reactions that we are currently doing. Thank you to everyone that has tuned in to this series so far. If you've not seen last time's episode, make sure to go and check it out. Really good one on Ronaldinho. And today we're keeping the bar set quite high as we are going to be reacting to Thierry Henry. Now this reaction probably going to be quite similar to that Ronaldinho reaction, whereby my football knowledge sort of comes in at the end of Thierry Henry's career. Like when I was properly getting into football, he was playing for Barcelona by then, and obviously after that went on to play in the MLS. But when he was really sort of at the peak of his powers from his time at Arsenal, I just wasn't around watching football then. So this video is going to be really interesting to have a bit of a deeper dive into all that. As always, if you do go to enjoy, make sure to leave a like and get any other suggestions of any other players that you'd like to see me reacting to in the comments down below. But without any further ado, let's check out Thierry Henry. So without any further ado, let's jump into this one and find out just how good Thierry Henry actually was.
Son to Caribbean parents who lived in the suburbs of Paris caught the eye of the local team's coach. He, despite his talent, was particularly not interested in football.
Very interested to learn about his sort of early career and upbringing and things like that, and then that move to Arsenal, because that's the stage of his career that I'm really not all too clued up on.
Watch his team play, and by the end of the match, the score sheet read 6-0, with one name standing out as it had been written all 6 times. Thierry Henry.
Yeah, I did know he played for Monaco as well. That does ring a bell,
actually. As long as they
actually.
had good grades and were willing to take trials first. But Henry, despite not filling that criteria, was so talented that they would allow him to join either way. At just 17, he would debut for the main team, and in his first season, despite only playing 279 minutes, he
wow, so yeah, really young breakthrough there.
He would start getting more playing time, but still only coming in as a sub and playing on the wing. Regardless, he would impress, and as he started the next season on his best form yet, by mid-November he would average a goal every 91 minutes.
Wow.
And despite going on a dry...
That's very decent, obviously. Quite interesting to learn that he sort of started out as that winger as well, because when my knowledge, like proper knowledge of Thierry Henry, when I was actually watching back in the day, that was sort of like in his Barcelona days, and by that point of his career he had sort of transitioned back into a winger and how they set up and things like that. So yeah, really interested to sort of learn more about his early days.
Year, it would win the award for the best French young player of the year. For the rest of the season, he would keep playing at a high level and would help AS Monaco win the French league.
Oh, nice.
The 1997-1998 season would be the one where he would truly cement himself as a generational talent. While during the season his goal-scoring ability would not offer very impressive results domestically, it would be amazing in the Champions League, scoring 6 times in the group stage. As they
I could imagine there was a lot of hype around him because of that.
United,
actually, that's the stage where everyone sees you in the Champions League as well.
Which would be the case once again in his first leg of the semi-finals, as they lost 4-1 to Juventus. In the second leg, Henry would play the full 90, and despite him managing to score his 7th Champions League goal of the season, the most scored by a French player since the renaming of the competition, and averaging a goal every 81 minutes, AS Monaco would not make it to the final. This tournament would only help to earn him even more notoriety at international level, and after half a season with Monaco, we would get sold to Juventus for 12.5 million.
Oh wow, never even knew.
As Henry in his first 3 months in the club, the doubts over him became even more severe. But then the barrier was broken and Henry started scoring, and with 12 goals over the next 18 matches, it seemed like he did indeed justify his own feat.
Oh, some of the footwork is just ridiculous, isn't it?
Scoring 10 consecutive matches with 12 goals, averaging a goal every 60 minutes.
He just sits people down, doesn't he?
Massively influenced Arsenal's performance in the Europa
One goal
League,
every 60 minutes, wow.
Scoring in all 6 games that preceded the final. Unfortunately there, he wouldn't be able to help them any further, and Arsenal would lose the final on penalties.
We have to rewind that and watch that back a little bit there. That is outrageous.
Scoring in all 6 games that preceded the final. Unfortunately there, he wouldn't be able to help them any further, and Arsenal would lose the final on penalties.
Yeah, absolutely loving watching this. It's so interesting about Thierry Henry as well. I'm kind of gutted that I missed like that time when he was at Arsenal and in the Premier League as well, because when you go back and sort of hear people talking about Thierry Henry, you know, people hold him up as probably like the best player to have ever played in the Premier League, certainly at his peak. So yeah, I'm enjoying these clips a lot here and learning the backstory.
He would be called to play for the national team in the Euro 2000. Once again, it would come off to a great start, scoring in the first 2 matches. Then it would be rested, coming back in the quarterfinals where we would have a quiet game against Spain. In the semi-finals though, it would be the hero as he would score the equalizer that prevented France from being knocked out by Portugal and make it to the final. The final would be another quiet match where his teammates would step up and Henry would win his 2nd international trophy, once again as the top scorer of the team. His 2nd season at Arsenal would be more stable, though it would have a similar outcome with Arsenal once again finishing 2nd place in the league and losing out in the final of the FA Cup. Henry was desperate to get his hands on some silverware, and the next season would come to fulfill his wish, as Arsenal would finish top of the Premier League and would even earn the double as they defeated Chelsea 2-0 in the final, though Henry would once again seem distant. This final came to show that Henry clearly had a lack of composure when it came to facing bigger teams, seemingly always disappearing in the finals and only scoring once during the Champions League knockout stage, despite managing 6 goals in 7 matches during the group stage.
Yeah, that is something that I have heard about Henry as well, which is interesting to learn a bit of the backstory behind that as well, sort of him in finals and things like that. Obviously, I'm sure the video will get into that Champions League final that Arsenal had. Which obviously I know they went on to lose, but yeah, interesting nonetheless, and also interesting obviously as we previously had done that Dennis Bergkamp reaction on the channel and sort of how their paths will cross and things like that in this one.
Despite failing to retain the Premier League title, he would manage an incredible tally of 55 goals and assists in 55 matches. That would allow him to reach the final of the FA Cup once again, where this time he would silence his critics, as despite not scoring, he would earn the Man of the Match award. Still, as the final was played against Southampton, many claimed it wasn't a proper final and that he still had to prove himself against bigger teams. Regardless of what his critics might have said, FIFA certainly believed in Henry, as he would finish the season as runner-up in the FIFA World Player of the Year award. The next season would represent what many consider his peak, as he would be essential to Arsenal in their quest to becoming the first ever team to win the Premier League without...
That same finish he does, but it's so just mesmerising to watch. That just bends it into the far post when he's running at pace as well. It's so impressive.
A single defeat, as he would score 30
goals,
which would be the all-time record, and provide 9 assists throughout the 37 league matches he would play.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Critics would rejoice as their opinions seemed to be reinforced by Henry's performances, with him failing to score in 3 out of the 4 knockout stage matches of the Champions League, only scoring against Celta de Vigo, and failing to score in the semi-finals of the FA Cup against Chelsea. Still that season he would net a hat-trick against Liverpool, which was a good way to clap back. Still, this season would see him renew his spot as the runner-up to the FIFA Player of the Year award and win the European Golden Boot for the first time.
Oh, he can take a free kick as well, can't he? I've never seen any of these before.
Most underwhelming, with no trophies coming his way, despite Henry finishing as the league top scorer. The following season though would be much different. Henry would have his least clutch season, only once scoring against the top 4, despite being the league's top scorer. In the Champions League, it would be even more underwhelming, scoring only twice during the knockout stages, despite Arsenal making it to the final, where Henry would once more disappoint as they lost out to Barcelona.
Yeah, obviously that's one that I have heard of.
The 2006 World Cup, where despite ending up being nominated as one of the best players of the tournament, he would only score once over the knockout stage, where he wouldn't play a single full match. Sadly, despite making it to the final, France would lose to Italy on penalties. After a last season at Arsenal completely destroyed by injuries, Henry would finally move away on a €24 million deal that would see him join Barcelona.
Oh, it's interesting that his last season at Arsenal was sort of hampered by injuries there, obviously. I know that he eventually comes back briefly. He scored that goal against Leeds, doesn't he? I think it was against Andy Lonergan, who was the Leeds goalkeeper at the time. But yeah, really quite interesting to learn that journey over his time at Arsenal. I mean, watching those clips are absolutely mesmerising for what he was capable of doing with the ball, his finishing ability, how fast and powerful he looked, and just that technical ability to just sweep the ball around people looked absolutely fantastic. But really interesting to sort of learn a few more of the numbers and a bit more of the backstory behind, you know, some of those, I suppose, like clutch matches as people would call them and things like that. Really interested to know if that sort of improved from his time at Barcelona a little bit.
The Gunners would have somewhat of a renaissance, with the legend himself clarifying that he believed his seniority at the club was hindering their style of play. Sort of shocking to hear, to be honest.
Yeah.
At Barcelona, he would never achieve the status he had at Arsenal, managing just 19 goals in his first season, getting to
he's not bad, is it?
To be missing home. The second season there would be the best by far, as Barcelona would take home 6 trophies, winning the Copa del Rey, La Liga, both Super Cups, and of course the Champions League and the
Yeah,
Club
that
World
was the
Cup,
first season
as
I
Henry
properly remember.
managed 26 goals in all competitions.
Nice.
As a recurring theme of his career was his inability to show up in big games. You're
I think at this stage he was like very much playing as that winger as well, wasn't
probably
he?
wondering how he did in his only victorious run in the Champions League. And well, to the surprise of no one at this point, he only scored 1 goal after the last 16 rounds.
Wow, yeah,
After
so it really was a
simply being
reoccurring thing
replaced
with
by
Henry
Pedro
throughout his
Rodriguez
career, wasn't
in his
it?
third season, he would leave to the MLS to play for the New York Red Bulls, where he
Yeah.
would never register more than 15 goals in a season, with his most
Oh,
notable
wow.
moment being a month and a half loan back to Arsenal, where he would play 7 matches and manage 2 goals, as he cemented himself as the club's all-time top scorer.
Nice, okay, I didn't know that, that's
was
nice.
an icon. He formed incredible partnerships, first with Bergkamp, then Samuel Eto'o, one of my favorite players from when I was younger. I would pick that Barcelona team every time. The way
Yeah.
he would drift from side to side, completely bamboozling defenders, it was just phenomenal.
That was
no
one of the
matter how
first teams that
intense
I
his
remember, that
sprints
like
have been.
iconic Barcelona team of like
Now, getting
08.
into our ranking system. First, we will judge him by his finishing. It was deadly as they get with his right foot, but lacking in heading ability as well as set pieces, long range, and weak
That
foot
right foot's
finishing.
unreal,
He
isn't
can
it?
only
Those
get a
curling
B.
shots.
Secondly, we'll judge him on his positioning. Much like Del Piero, he wasn't that type of a striker. He gets a 7 out of 10. For speed and physicality, he gets a 7 out of 10, as he was pretty fast, but not.
I feel like
a
these
player
rankings are
at
being a
all.
little bit harsh on
The
Thierry,
fourth
to be honest with you,
attribute
but
to
that's
take
just
into
my
account
2
is his
cents on
first
it.
touch and ball control, which were superb. Some of the finest ever seen on a
I've
striker.
got to say, he's got to
gets
give him a good
10
ranking
out
for
of
this
10.
one. Yeah,
Finally,
okay.
mentality. As I covered in the video, we tended to not show up on big games, which is close to the most important trait a striker must have, so he can only get a 5 out of 10. When it comes to his legacy, first, consistency. He played wonderfully in France and England, later dipping a bit in form while in Spain, and once again it has to be noted that he failed regularly to show up in any international tournament, especially on the late stages, so he can only get a 6 out of 10.
Wow, I feel like that's a bit
Secondly,
harsh.
flair, it's Thierry Henry. If you don't understand why he gets a 9 out of 10, you should
Yeah,
rewind.
okay, he's bringing it back a
Then
bit now
his
with that
trophy
rating.
cabinets. He was very lucky to have a great squad with the French national team, as well as the Invincibles, and even being part of the Tiki-Taka, so not surprisingly at all, his trophy cabinet is nearly immaculate.
Yeah.
Just lacking some individual awards, a 9 out of 10. The fourth of these aspects is longevity.
Yeah, thinking about it,
which
he's
was
won pretty much
really
everything
good.
there
He
is
had
to
some shaky
win,
moments
really,
at
hasn't
Juve
he?
and Barcelona, he gets an 8 out of 10. Lastly, the icon factor. His name is one of the most unforgettable to come out of the 2000s. Especially
Yeah,
in
undoubtedly.
England. He gets a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
That adds up to 78 out of 100, placing him right under Ronaldinho and Kaká, who are both 2 amazing players who had one specific aspect of their game.
Wow, yeah, quite interesting to learn all that backstory about Thierry Henry there. Really enjoyed that one. There we have it though, guys. There was my reaction to Thierry Henry, and that was quite an interesting video actually, because it didn't just touch on like some of the like positive aspects of Thierry Henry and throughout his career and things like that. It did have a bit of a dive into sort of his record in those bigger matches and things like that, but I mean, undoubtedly, you know, when you think of the Premier League, you think of him and Alan Shearer, really, don't you, as the 2, like, most probably iconic players of the last 2 decades. Very much enjoyed today's video, though, guys. If you did go on to enjoy, make sure to leave a like and do stick around and subscribe for a bit of regular reactions, which will be going up on the channel every week. Thanks for watching, though, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.